All right, moving on. Let's move to the Eastern Conference is already set. Everybody knows we already know what the matchups are in the Eastern Conference. The Bucks and the Celtics. What's your thoughts on Bucks Celtics?
Well, I was saying all year, the Bucks have the best player in that series, and offensively, I'm not sure who in the playoffs is a better second option. Chris Middleton versus Jason Tatum. Now, Marcus Smart is still hurt, and Brogdon hasn't played yet, but they did get Mirotic back. Mirotic could make this series unwinnable for Boston because going back to what I was saying before, when you bring shooting off the bench and that shooting is consistent and that guy can play a little bit of D, you don't get a break. It's the same thing as the backup point guard position, which is why I thought George Hill was a significant acquisition for that team because he was a backup point guard insurance policy. When you get a guy who has either started or has starting level talent and you bring him off the bench, it's a really, really different look. And I don't think Boston has any answers for Antetokounmpo. I think Budenholzer is a great coach, and compared to what they were dealing with last year, they're in a much better position to I don't want to say out coach the Celtics, but out coach them according to what they have. They're in a position to get the most out of what they have and take some things away. And as great as Kyrie Irving has been this season, I think it's a tough position for him to be in to go against the guys he has to go against to go against beating Bledsoe off the dribble and then dealing with Antetokounmpo and Brook Lopez at the rim. And if you miss, Antetokounmpo gets a dunk or somebody else a three. That's that's really tough for the Celtics who can go through droughts. They're shooting three pretty well in the postseason, but we'll see how that holds up against Milwaukee. If they shoot the three well, that changes the dynamic of the team. And the X factor, as we discussed in earlier shows, is definitely Gordon Hayward. Because if
Yes.
they have Gordon, if he can be an 18 point per game guy throughout the series, that gives them some relief and some ability to match Milwaukee because Milwaukee defends well and scores well. And one of their ways of scoring, really two, you can't do nothing about. You can't do nothing about Brook Lopez hitting threes because he's too tall, he's too far from the rim, and he's dragging the help that you have for Antetokounmpo away from the rim. You just kind of have to let that go sometimes. Bledsoe driving is also tough to deal with for the same reason, and obviously Giannis, nothing has slowed him down all year. He's been an absolute monster, wire to wire, all year. And I don't expect Kyrie Irving to have a good game every single game. If Giannis has a good game every game, I'm not surprised at all. If he scores 20 points, 27 points or better, gets 12 or better rebounds every single game, wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm really interested in seeing who's going to get the primary defensive assignment for Giannis. That's what I'm because whoever it is needs help, right?
Hmm.
But I'm interested in seeing who gets the primary assignment. Honestly, I would I would really strongly consider putting Al Horford on him uh, a lot. And the reason why I say that is because obviously he's much quicker. Obviously he can beat him off the dribble. But what I'm thinking is I want somebody guarding him who can at least be to try to drain some energy out of him with some physicality. Because no matter what you do, he's going to have a physical advantage over somebody. Because if you get somebody out there who supposedly is able to stay with him from a speed standpoint, he's going to overpower him. If he's a big guy, he's going to run around him. But I would at least rather having a veteran big who is able to at least put body on him. Now, I understand you can only do that for so long because you can't afford to get Al Horford in serious foul trouble. So you got
That's
to
the key.
watch that. You got to
Foul
watch
trouble is the
that.
key.
You got to watch that. But I think that whenever you're guarding somebody, there's really nobody like Giannis. But when you're guarding a guy like him, it has to be a by committee thing. No one guy can stay on him all game, that, or the majority of the time, even. But in key situations, I think that because if you look at it, if with Brook Lopez staying so far away from the basket, there's really no reason to commit a big to him. He's all the
There
way
is,
out there
there is
anyway.
actually, there is because when Giannis goes up, a lot of times, Brook Lopez will come in and crash the offensive rebound, and you have no choice when that happens. Or Brook Lopez will fake the shot and drive, and get himself a bucket going to the basket. And with a smaller guy on him, I mean, he's just taking one step inside and jumping and throwing up a hook shot. And the thing is, that doesn't have to happen a lot because of how much the ball is in Middleton and Bledsoe and Giannis's hands. You only need 4 of them plays in the game to feel like it's happening 20 times. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
And
yeah, I think like you were saying, there's certain things you got to live with, and I would rather live with Brook Lopez putting the ball on the floor from the 3-point line and taking a smaller defender off the dribble and throwing in a hook shot than I would having a big struggling to get out there to him after I try to help because Giannis just dog walked the small guy inside the lane for a dunk. And in order for me to stop, kicks it out. So now you got the big in purgatory trying to figure out, do I help or do I stay with Brook Lopez? I would prefer, to me, there's more room for error on Milwaukee's side if I'm forcing Brook Lopez to put the ball on the floor, get to a certain area, because now I'm asking Brook Lopez to move off the dribble, which is not his strong suit. I'm also asking him to potentially pass out of a double team if I send help in the event that he does start to overpower the guard. So I'm asking him to do a couple of things that are not his A1. So, like I said, it's not as if it's not a situation he cannot have success in, but you always taking the lesser of two evils. And for me, that one would be the one I would deal with. All of that said, I got Milwaukee. I do
yeah,
think I
I
think
think this can be a close series because Boston is a smart team. They can play elite defense sometimes. Like Boston sometimes plays stellar defense. The problem is, you mentioned it earlier, usually Al Horford has a defensive plus matchup on the other team's big. Like he's the best defender on Embiid I've seen,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Um, but on Giannis, I don't think that's the case. Giannis don't care nothing about no Al Horford. He
yeah,
just don't.
yeah.
He
Giannis is
just
going to get it. Giannis is going to get his to a degree. The only
well, it's
thing
not about
is got to
his.
make it
It's
hard.
about those plays where Giannis is in the paint and there's 3 people in the paint with him and he passes out to shooters. Or those plays where you leaning on him and Brook Lopez and Eric Bledsoe gets hot. Because Eric Bledsoe can get you 25 points.
Yeah,
You know, you can't let, that's the thing, that's what makes Milwaukee so dangerous. Is they have so many shooters. You can't let those guys get hot. If they get hot, now it becomes a team where Jay Battle is saying, you need somebody else who can get you 30. I don't think that's necessarily the case when you have a bunch of guys who can make plays and hit threes and get fouled. Because then when you get 18 from this guy, 18 from that guy, 18 from that guy, like Milwaukee fields a team of 5 players where everybody can wind up with 15 or more points. You know what I mean? They
yeah.
don't have no Jeremy Grants on their team.
No, no. I mean, they are a far more complete team overall. Than most teams, which is the reason why they're my pick. That I mean, Milwaukee's my pick to win the championship.
Hmm.
I don't think that there's a team. It's hard for me to see them losing 4 games. It
And
could
I
happen.
don't think that's a dumb pick. I don't think that's a dumb pick because according to basically every measure, Milwaukee's the best team in the league. The thing that makes Milwaukee unique, and I'm arguing a little bit with Jay Battle in the chat here, is you have to commit 2 people to Giannis. And they have 4 people who can shoot. And people have been knocking Giannis all year that he can't shoot. And my thing is, I would rather have a guy get everybody else open shots than be a guy who can shoot, right?
Hmm.
James Harden, if he makes shots, he's one thing. If he's missing shots, they in trouble. Giannis is always Giannis. Literally, he's always a problem. If you don't commit 2, sometimes 3 people, and he'll dunk anyway, depending on who you committed and how he's feeling at the moment, how long his Greek step was. But you have to, he will literally dunk on you every single time. You know what I mean? And they defend well. So it's not like you're gonna go the other end and get your 3 to their 2, like against Philly. Philly can't defend guards. So you can play 3 to their 2 and just beat them mathematically. You can't beat Milwaukee mathematically.
They have something of a mismatch at 3 to 4 positions,
Yeah.
like almost all the time.
Because I
Almost
don't I
all.
don't love Kyrie Irving guarding Eric Bledsoe. I
No, I
don't
don't
love
love
it.
that. I mean, because
I don't like it. Like when Marcus Smart
I was
down,
going
that
to say,
sucks.
who is Kyrie going to guard? He's got to guard Bledsoe. There's nobody else to guard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because if Middleton gets him in the post, that's basically a layup.
It's so. I'm actually very interested in seeing how well is Kyrie going to hold up at the end of games from a stamina standpoint. Because if I'm the Bucks, I'm going at him. I'm going at him. I'm going at him all the time. And so, I mean, because I know that he's their most consistent offensive player. And
There's two chances I think Boston has to win the series. One is experience and poise. They have a lot of guys who've played a lot of playoff games and they're not going to panic, right? Including the young guys, which is rare. And one thing I love about Jason Tatum, he's cool as a cucumber. The
yeah.
guy appears to, he feels very confident player, and
Hmm.
you need that, right? Kyrie, I totally believe in him. If Gordon Hayward continues to improve, he can get you buckets. I don't think they have enough consistent scoring, but if Brad Stevens defensively can figure out a way to get Milwaukee to go through droughts that come from not just them being cold, but from you doing something, it's something you can do, particularly when Giannis sits down, then they can have a chess match of Giannis playing too many minutes because he hasn't played a lot of minutes this year, which is one of the amazing things about him is he's basically, again, I don't know what he's like 33 minutes a game,
Yeah.
and he's the most of, highest PER or whatever. It was crazy. Um, but if you can get Giannis on the floor more than he needs to be, maybe he'll be tired in the fourth quarter, and he can't do that. So they have to win the bench battle. And Boston's deep, so that's feasible.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just, I mean, I still got respect for Brad Stevens, and I still understand that it's very possible we can see Jason Tatum have the series in his career, like the series that makes him the guy that people think he can be. I think that's possible, and I also think that Gordon Hayward is trending in a certain direction, right? So I'm not saying it's totally impossible. There's no way in the world they're going to lose in four, but all of that considered, having the option of giving it to a guy who absolutely just makes everybody on the floor so much better, makes everybody on the floors just he's so efficient in his possessions that I don't know, man. I just
Yeah, for me, it comes down to when 49 win teams beat 60 win teams. There's usually some other factor. Some
Mhm.
guys coming back from injury. We have that a little bit in Gordon Hayward. I don't think he's that much of a difference, particularly with Marcus Smart going down. Or the lower seeded team has the best player, right? In this case, they don't have the best player. And a 49 team, 40, and I think Giannis is significantly a better basketball player than Kyrie Irving.
yes.
So I think that makes it really tough to be the underdog. I don't think Milwaukee's a regular season team. I think they're a playoff team. I think
Mhm.
they're built to win in the playoffs. I mean, the ritual sacrifice that was the Detroit Pistons series. Say what you want about the Pistons, but they did what they were supposed to do to the Pistons and more. It looked like they didn't have a chance.
Right.
They looked like they were almost from two different leagues. Like Milwaukee just beat them to death and rested people.
Right. No,
They were
100%.
never threatened.
Yeah, it looked like a 1-8, and that's the
Yeah,
way a 1-8 supposed to look.